Coming up today, Korea's golf sensation Park Inbee claims a remarkable victory in the British Open, winning her 7th major and completing a career Grand Slam. President Park Geun-hye gets back to work after a 5-day summer break at the presidential office. It's thought she pored over reports and worked on her Liberation Day speech during her short vacation. Plus, a Malaysian official says the wing part recently found on an island in the Western Indian Ocean is from a Boeing 777, the same model as flight MH370 that vanished in March 2014. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello and welcome. It's 6 a.m. on Monday, August 3rd here in Seoul. I'm Mark Broome and you're tuned in to our early morning edition of Arirang News. And we start with Park Inbee's victory in Scotland that has written her into golf's history books. Winning the British Open on Sunday, the world #1 completed a career Grand Slam on the LPGA Tour. The 27-year-old shot a stunning 7 under 65 in the final round to beat fellow Korean Park Geun-hye by 3 shots. Park, who now has 7 major titles under her belt, also took home the $450,000 winner's check. She becomes just the 7th female golfer in history to win at least 4 different majors over a career, following Annika Sorenstam, who won the career Grand Slam back in 2003. Looking further down the scorecard, and it has a very distinctly Korean feel, with Go Jin-young in second and Yoo So-yeon tied with Korean-born New Zealander Lydia Ko for 3rd place. President Park Geun-hye gets back to work on Monday after taking a 5-day break. For the 2nd consecutive year, the president chose to spend her days off at her official residence of Cheongwa-dae, meaning she was still hard at work during her off days. On her official Facebook page, the president said she spent time reading various materials, including official reports. It's believed she also worked on her Liberation Day speech and discussed granting presidential pardons with officials. On Tuesday, she will hold a cabinet meeting where she's expected to share her thoughts on several issues, including reforming the labour market and reviving the economy. Now, the day before Liberation Day could be designated as a temporary national holiday. The Korean government is considering this option as it could help foster a greater sense of national pride and encourage spending to help lift the economy, still recovering from the effects of the MERS outbreak. If the plan is approved, government and public institutions will be closed on August 14th, while private businesses will be allowed to decide for themselves whether to follow suit. August 15th marks the 70th anniversary of Korea's independence from Japan's colonial rule from 1910 to 1945. The plan will be discussed at a cabinet meeting on Tuesday. And in other political news, labour market reforms top the agenda for the National Assembly's August session, which kicks off on Friday, August 7th. The ruling Saenuri Party will push for a so-called wage peak system as part of plans to lift the youth unemployment rate, to lower it rather. Under the system, the wages of workers nearing retirement would be cut gradually after they turn 58 years old, and the money saved will be used to hire more young people. The main opposition New Politics Alliance for Democracy will hold seminars to collect workers' opinions before formulating its own reform plans. The two parties will be preparing for the annual parliamentary audit of state affairs in September. They will also receive briefings from parliamentary committees about the ongoing hacking scandal involving the nation's spy agency. Korea is preparing to set up a new government bureau dedicated to big data. Statistics Korea says it has wrapped up talks with the Government Administration Ministry and is in final talks on the budget with the Finance Ministry. Now, until now, the agency's figures were based on data from the Bank of Korea and the Seoul city government. The new bureau will be able to monitor social networking services and release information in real time. Statistics Korea hopes to use big data to prevent major incidents like the MERS outbreak. Advanced countries like Canada, the Netherlands and Australia also make use of big data to draw up new indices. Now, as Korea declared a virtual end to the outbreak of Middle East respiratory syndrome last week, the hardest hit hospital, Samsung Medical Center in southern Seoul, will resume normal operations beginning this Monday. The center, which began treating current patients from late last month after being partially closed due to the MERS outbreak, will finalize the normalization of its services by starting to receive new outpatients as well from today. Along with the treatment of new patients, the hospital will also open a special emergency room designed to treat emergency patients with respiratory problems. Now in economic news, and Korea's top 10 business groups had a rough 2014 amid global economic uncertainties. The majority saw their exports fall, with only 3 seeing an increase in overseas sales. For the numbers and more, Ji Myung-gil reports.
Korea's top 10 conglomerates saw their exports fall 4.6% on-year in 2014. According to data compiled by industry tracker Jaebeol.com, the combined revenue from exports for the 10 business groups fell to less than $470 billion last year, compared to $490 billion in 2013. Korea's large firms are heavily export-reliant. Data shows that the overseas market was responsible for more than 50% of the group's combined revenue last year. Samsung, LG, Lotte, GS, Hyundai Heavy Industries, Hanjin and Hanwha all saw their overseas sales drop last year compared to the previous year, while Hyundai Motor Group, SK and POSCO saw their overseas revenue advance. Samsung Group, which holds Samsung Electronics under its wing, was the biggest loser by posting overseas sales of $160 billion last year, down more than 10% from the previous year. On the other hand, Korea's top steel maker POSCO raked in $30 billion from the overseas market last year, up 16.4% on-year to take up 50.4% of its combined revenue. Hanwha Group said Sunday that despite the overseas sales drop, it still plans to support the government's efforts to tackle the high youth unemployment rate by sharply increasing the number of new recruits over the next 3 years. The group said it would hire more than 5,700 workers in the second half of this year and push to employ more than 17,000 new workers by 2017. Ji Myung-gil, Arirang News.
Now, Malaysia's Transport Minister says airplane debris found on Reunion Island has been identified as part of a Boeing 777, the same type of aircraft as the missing flight MH370. The wing surface, known as a flaperon, was flown to France for investigation over the weekend. Representatives from Malaysia, the US, China, France and Boeing are scheduled to meet on Wednesday to try and verify if the part is in actual fact from MH370. A second piece of debris also washed up on Reunion on Sunday, but it has been discounted. An official said it was part of a ladder and was not from an aircraft. The doomed Malaysia Airlines plane vanished without a trace in March last year, with 39 people on board. North Korea appears to be installing a cover on its missile launch pad. Analysts say it could be preparing to fire a long-range missile in October to mark the 70th anniversary of its ruling Workers' Party and further withdrawing itself from the outside world. North Korea on Sunday pulled out of a global military sports event. Connie Kim reports.
Japan's Kyodo News reported Sunday on new satellite imagery showing the installation of a cover over the launch pad at the Seoul Satellite Launching Station in Dongchangli, Cheolsan County. U.S. intelligence agencies say the details are unclear, but expect the installation to be completed this month. The development is especially concerning as covers were placed on the side and other parts of the launch pad in the final stages of North Korea's preparations for two separate long-range rocket launches in 2012. South Korea reported last month that North Korea had completed an upgrade to the launch pad that would allow it to fire a long-range missile twice the size of the rocket launched in 2012. There is speculation the preparations could be for a possible launch in October to mark the 70th anniversary of the founding of the North's ruling Workers' Party. The move would be sure to further isolate the regime from the international community, though there are signs it may already be taking steps in that direction. Pyongyang on Sunday notified the France-based organizer of an international military sports event to be held in Seoul in October that it'll not attend. Seoul's defense ministry says the North gave no reason for its decision. The North also recently rejected the South's invitation to an international security dialogue set to take place in Seoul next month. Connie Kim, Arirang News.
While North Korea may be seeking a certain kind of isolation, that hasn't stopped the reclusive regime from developing its tourism industry. The North is promoting attractions in its eastern coastal city of Wonsan and Gumgangsan Mountain. A report in the Kim Il-sung University newspaper highlights the region's historic sites and scenic spots, as well as its beaches, lakes, temples and pagodas. This is in line with the Hermit Kingdom's efforts to develop the area into an international tourism zone for foreign investors. Now, in May, North Korea held an investment briefing for foreigners in this area. Chinese and Swiss investors were reportedly present at this event. South Korea's foreign minister and the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency have been discussing ways to deepen their cooperation on resolving North Korea's nuclear development. According to foreign ministry officials, Yoon Byung-se and Yukiya Amano covered the topic when they met at the IAEA headquarters in Vienna on Sunday local time. They also touched on the subject of a partnership between the agency and South Korea, which is the world's fifth largest nuclear power producer. They also discussed the agency's role in implementing the Iran nuclear deal and exchanged views on the agreement's impact on the international non-proliferation system. This was Minister Yoon's first visit to IAEA headquarters since taking office in 2013. Now, every year, Korea's southern city of Ulsan turns one of its reservoirs into an eco-tourism attraction that's open to the public for just 1 month a year. So what kind of natural wonder can you expect to find there? Let's find out with our Won Ji-yeon.
At first glance, you might think this is just another ordinary park. But what you're seeing here is actually a water reservoir created by the Hwea Dam, located in the southern city of Ulsan. Despite its primary purpose as a drinking water reservoir, the constructed wetland becomes a popular tourist attraction for lovers of the great outdoors every year. Its well-preserved ecosystem offers an abundance of plant life, creating a sanctuary for its many visitors.
I've always wanted to come here, and now after seeing all the water lilies that are spread out all over, I feel as if my heart has also expanded a bit. It made me feel really good.
Since 2012, the city has turned the reservoir into an eco park that's open to the public for about a month in the summer. This massive area of more than 170,000 square meters is home to more than 30 kinds of plants, like cattails and various reeds. City officials say the plant life plays a role in improving water quality in the reserve.
We'll be sure to preserve the wildlife in the reservoir to help with the water's natural purification process.
This year, the Hwea Dam Reservoir will stay open to public until August 20th, and admission to the park, which includes a guided tour, is free. But you'll want to book a spot before you visit. Only 100 visitors are admitted per day. Those who want to go will need to call ahead or make reservations online. Won Ji-yeon, Arirang News.
Now, if you own a dog, you've more than likely kissed him or her, at least at one point or another, but you may have wondered whether it's actually safe to do so. Well, fortunately, research reveals that it's highly unlikely bacteria from a dog's mouth can really harm humans that much at all. Our Park Geun-hye has the details.
As in the scene from this movie, families who share their homes with dogs may end up with dog saliva in their mouths. Thankfully, a research team from Korea has found that bacterial dissemination between dogs and humans is uncommon. The researchers examined oral microbiomes of dogs and their owners, as well as those who don't have dogs, using next-generation sequencing technology. There are some 5,000 types of germs each found in humans and dogs. According to RNA sequence analysis, just 12 overlapping germs were identified. And even if the germs from a dog make it into a human's mouth, appreciably different conditions make it hard for the germs to survive.
The average pH level in the human mouth is almost neutral, whereas dogs have more alkaline mouths. Because of this, it is difficult for bacteria from dogs to survive in human mouths and vice versa.
In addition to natural conditions, the immune system and brushing teeth get rid of the germs. However, hosts that are sick and have a weak immune system are more likely to be infected, so they should take extra sanitary precautions. Surprisingly little is known about microbes in the canine mouth and their relationship with that of their owners. The study was published in the scientific journal PLOS ONE earlier this month before being introduced later as a reading selection by global magazine The Scientist. Park Geun-hye, Arirang News.
Well, those are stories we have for you at this hour. For more of the latest, don't forget to check out our website, arirang.com/news. And we do hope your week gets off to a great start. Goodbye.